Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Pulse here on the Joy News channel. Now, coming up this afternoon, Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association rejects Parliament Mines and Energy Committee's report on Gensa gas supply deal, insisting it has dire consequences for the country if agreement is allowed to pass in its current form. But the minority is dissociating itself from the report, indicating that it is not a true reflection of their views. We speak exclusively to this afternoon. Also coming up, President Akufo-Addo is demanding formal apology from European countries involved in the transatlantic slave trade for damages caused to culture, image, and psychology of Africans.
The entire continent of Africa deserves a formal apology from the European nations involved in the slave trade for the crimes and damage it has caused to the population, psyche, image, and character of Africans the world over.
And it's day 2 of the Charlie Wote Art Festival, and this afternoon we return to the Black Star Square where the best of art will be on display. It's a pleasure to be with you. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignity Lu, affordable, safe sanitation for all, and in partnership with Charlie Wote Street Art Festival coming up from now till 27th of August 2023. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and majoyonline.com for these and more. Let's settle for details of all of these stories. Now, a circuit court in Accra has granted bail to the husband of one of the lactating mothers standing trial in the alleged stolen money belonging to former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Abena Dapaah. He was accused of dishonestly receiving money to buy a house at Kokro Bite here in Accra. This follows the conclusion of investigations on him by the state prosecutors. Richard Kojo Nyako reports from the court.
7 accused persons, including Patience Botwe and Sarah J., who've been accused of stealing money, more than $1 million and other items from Madam Cecilia Dapaah's matrimonial home, turned up in court today. Madam Cecilia Dapaah's lawyer was in court to watch brief for her. Apart from Patience Botwe and Sarah J., who've been accused of stealing the money, the others have been accused of dishonestly receiving the various sums of money. The state told the court they had concluded investigations with respect to A6, the husband of one of the lactating mothers who has been accused of dishonestly receiving money from the alleged stolen monies from the matrimonial home of Madam Cecilia Dapaah. He's been accused of using the money he received to buy a house at Kokro Bite here in Accra. His bail is in respect of the completion of investigations regarding his role in the stolen items. The court thus granted him bail to the sum of 300,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to be justified. The state further asked for 2 more weeks for them to conclude their investigations. Meanwhile, the 2 lactating mothers who were granted bail to the sum of 1 million Ghana cedis are yet to satisfy the bail conditions given them by the court. Their lawyers say the bail conditions are so rigid such that satisfying them has been an arduous task. The court has adjourned the case to the 5th of September to enable the prosecutors conclude their investigations. Reporting from the court, my name is Richard Kojo Nyako for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is investigating the former Minister for Corruption and corruption-related offences. It is seeking to confirm at the High Court the seizure of $590,000 and 2.7 million Ghana cedis it found in her home upon a search and the freezing of her account, 2 of which are said to hold $5 million and 48 million cedis, being the value of transactions assessed by investigators over a period. Now, the more details are coming up in this particular matter, and we'll be bringing you all of those here on the Joy News channel. You can just log on to myjournal.com for more on this developing story. Now, let's take you to South Africa, because West Africa's biggest economy, Nigeria, has expressed interest in joining an alliance with Brazil, India, Russia, and South Africa, BRICS, under a multilateral framework called the BRICS. Now, the decision of Africa's most populous nation to tilt towards these emerging powers potentially has an impact of countries such as Ghana, which shared an integrated market with Nigeria under the Economic Community of West African States. Head of Diplomatic Affairs, Blessed Soga, joins us from South Africa with more. But before this, let's bring you this one.
Well, so the 15th BRICS Summit is underway here in Johannesburg, South Africa. We know that the plan by the multilateral framework is to reach out to Africa, and that's why South Africa is providing that strategic platform to the rest of the continent to connect with this framework that accounts for 40% of the world's population. Over 26% of global trade is handled by BRICS, raising concerns as to why the rest of Africa is not plugged in to this network of a wide-reaching market, which includes China. Well, I need to point out that the Chinese President Xi Jinping is in South Africa, arrived last night ahead of the summit, which is underway and is about to officially open later today. But we must also point out that there is indication that we're getting some sources tell us that some 20 other nations are willing to be a part of this framework, which means that more countries are likely to join the BRICS framework after the conference wraps up in Johannesburg. But what we also know, and what concerns the West Africa sub-region, is that the sub-region's biggest economy, Nigeria, has decided to officially join BRICS. That's a big deal, knowing that that's Africa's most populous country with a population of over 200 million people. That means that when Nigeria is officially accepted to join BRICS, their market will expand and they would go way over 40% in terms of accounting for the world population. It's a reason for which some experts are of the view that this is the time for other African countries to join the framework. But there's also issues relating to geopolitics, which is also coming out strongly about what the implications will be for emerging economies, knowing that the trade arrangements between these bigger countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, has not been balanced. Most of these economies are way bigger, and the fear is that they may swallow up the emerging economies. But whatever the case may be, the indication we're getting from the likes of Nigeria is that they would want to be a part of this framework so they could take advantage of the wider market that the likes of China, India, Russia, and Brazil are presenting to them. So we're awaiting what the final decision will be. After that formal decision at the end of the 2 or 3 day summit, we will know the fate of Nigeria. But Nigeria's decision to join BRICS has a possible impact or implication for countries such as Ghana. The fact that Ghana, first of all, is one of the key players in the West Africa sub-region, and we also have one of our major trading partners being China. So we're waiting to see if Nigeria will be admitted. Once Nigeria is admitted, we don't know if it will be same for other countries such as Ghana and the likes in the West Africa region to want to join. Free trade area becomes an integral part or a multilateral engagement that BRICS can also plug into, because Africa is a green market, it's an emerging market. For many of these countries in Asia, particularly China, they see this as a bigger opportunity to work more closely with Africa. So these are some of the issues that are likely to feature here as the summit takes off down.
Well, the BRICS bloc, the way I'd like to look at it, provides opportunity for intra-BRIC country trade, and then those opportunities have been brought to life, speaking from a practical point of view, through the trade missions that have taken place since South Africa was a member of BRICS. I mean, if I look back in 2010 when we became a member, and 2011 we started participating, the trade amongst each of the BRIC countries is around 7% or just below 10%. But now we're talking about the trade that has expanded to even, less than 30%. So that tells you that it's almost moving and will cross that mark of 30%. So that's how the benefits has come to be realized. In that, within this trade facilitation, what you find is an opportunity for a layman on the street in South Africa to get an opportunity to showcase their products and services through this trade exhibition, and from there they create awareness as well as demand through these platforms, and that's how then it trickles down to the layman on the street in as far as creating jobs and opportunities of trade.
There will be more from the BRICS summit here on this channel, because our man Blessed Soga is on the grounds in Johannesburg. So stay with us in our subsequent bulletins. We'll bring you more. Now, though, the Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association is rejecting a report from the Parliament's Committee on Mines and Energy on a gas supply agreement between Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and Gensa Energy Ghana Limited. The deal involves provision of 50 million standard cubic feet of raw gas daily to Gensa Energy. The association is concerned that the deal's conditions could negatively impact consumers and potentially lead to some losses for Ghana. However, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy has investigated claims of irregularities by the African Centre for Energy Policy, ACEP, and the Imani Centre for Policy and Education, and found no evidence of losses in the deal. Joining us now is, we'll be getting into details, but let's bring you the thought of the minority, because the members on the Mines and Energy Committee is dissociating itself from the report, indicating that the findings do not reflect the views of the members. John Janapo is ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee.
Committee's report does not reflect the views of the entire membership of the committee. Immediately, the chairman put out that report. As ranking member who represents the minority side, I issued a counter report. I issued a statement denouncing the report and stating that the report is inaccurate, contains factual inaccuracies, baseless assumptions, and does not reflect what the committee was supposed to do. And so let me put on record that the minority is not part of that committee's report in terms of its findings. We disagree in its entirety with the assumptions and, more importantly, with the conclusions. The committee was tasked to ensure that we deal with the critical issue of value for money. That has not been addressed. And so please don't associate us with that report. It does not reflect the value for money and that there are huge losses to the state. So this attempt to box us together is most unfortunate. And I've issued a formal statement to that effect. But more importantly, the Speaker has referred this very matter to the Committee of Mines and Energy and the Committee of Finance. We are yet to sit on this whole agreement. I think that will afford Parliament the opportunity to do a much more detailed job and come out with its findings in a fair and transparent manner.
Well, this is an interesting development story. You remember this whole deal was a huge issue some months back. Now, the Energy Committee of Parliament says they see nothing wrong, but the minority is distancing itself from that committee, the report. And the senior staff of Ghana Gas say they have all the issues to be concerned about this particular deal. But we'll delve more into this deal with the chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Ghana Gas right after this.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small?
A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid, for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more?
Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
Mm-hmm.
Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana.
It's not fun here. There are a lot of art things to do. So I personally love it, and I love the artworks. I love Charlotte 2022.
It's fantastic. This year's experience is marvelous.
It's amazing. It's Charlotte Festival. You ought to be here.
The paintings, the people, the Ghanaians were awesome.
Everyone, when you're in Ghana around the same time, make sure you check it out. It's really happening.
Welcome back from the break. Now let's talk education, because the Ministry of Education has asked the Ghana Tertiary Education Council to order the accountant and the accountant general not to effect payment of teachers in training colleges for the month of August. Now let's take you through the statement that came up this morning. Now, it says, we write the instance of the Honorable Minister of Education requesting you not to pay monthly salary and allowances for the month of August 2023 to the teaching staff of all 46 colleges of education, CTAC. However, any arrears before August 2023 should be validated and paid. We count very much on your cooperation and urgent action, please. Sincerely, Saka Sayuti, Director, Administration for Director General of GTech. Well, this morning, the PRO of the Education Ministry confirmed this letter and explained that since they did not work for the month of August, they cannot be paid for that. But how is the CTAG reacting to the story? We have Prince Obeyinhima, who is president of CTAG, on the line with us. Grateful to you for joining us, sir. What are your reactions to this directive from the ministry?
Good afternoon to you, and thanks for the opportunity. I think that as employees, we take directives from the ministry, and we cannot compel the ministry to act. So we are taking it as you are also reading it. But we have some concerns. There have been a lot of misinformation out there today, and we wish to use this golden opportunity to, as it were, set a record straight. One, the impression being created out there that today we were invited to a meeting at the instance of the National Labour Commission, and we refused to attend. I think I want to respectfully put it out there that nothing of the sort happened. We have not had any invitation to any meeting anywhere today. As far as the National Labour Commission is concerned, we appeared before them on Wednesday last week, and we are expecting next to appear before them, that is on the 30th of this month. And then two, the information out there that we have misrespected the Honorable Minister of Education. He invited us to a meeting that is yesterday. The invitation came on Friday, and we failed to attend. We also want to set the record straight. We have taken steps to even write to the minister today. I think going through all of these things, we believe in the fact that a strike will be over. The ministry would need the tutors. The tutors would also need the ministry. There is a need for us to work to maintain a perfect relationship, working relationship at that, so that there will be that congenial, environment. We're invited on Friday by the Honorable Minister through a letter, and we were asked to come for the meeting yesterday at 8 a.m. The invitation came at a time that we had closed our meeting in Kumasi, national officers. People had taken off, somebody going to Bewa, Hohoi, Atebubu, and all of that. So the best we could have done under the circumstance was to have politely written to the minister without any malice, asking that we be given the chance to have the meeting online. We've done that with the minister before because of the circumstance. But the possibility of having to hit Bewa and then to return on Monday, 8 a.m. wasn't just there practically. So we appealed to the minister. We didn't get any response till yesterday when news started going around on platforms that we have disrespected the minister. We want to say that we appreciate him. We really know how he's been there for us in difficult times, spoken for us, he's advocated for us, and we wouldn't do anything to run down his office or to disrespect his office. So that is, for that. Thank you for that opportunity.
Well, we understand that the National Labour Commission asked you to return to the classroom once all your grievances had been acted upon by the ministry, but you refused to. Why did you do that?
It's important to mention that the National Labour Commission on Wednesday appealed to SITAG. And it wasn't only the National Labour Commission that had appealed to us. Other well-meaning Ghanaians and even the minister himself had appealed to us. Other people on the other political divide. I remember Clement Park, Honorable, and all the other people had even appealed to us to, as it were, call off the action. And we had been consistent. If there is anything that SITA could be credited for in this whole struggle, it's consistency in our line of delivery, and the fact that we have always adopted a bottom-up approach. That's why we've always been able to whip our people in line up to this point. So in all of these things, we told them that we needed to touch base with our people, consult with them, so that we'll send the appeal to them. And we've been in the process from Wednesday up to date. And rather, we haven't slept. We've been touching base with the structures, 46 colleges, the local level, the zonal level, the National Council level, the what have you. And we were almost at the point of finishing this whole consultations when this thing came up. And that has been the practice. All our people we've been engaging with the Employment and Labor Relations Ministry, the Ministry of
And that's why the employer had to also mandate the Accountant General to say that do not pay them for the month of August.
said that the issue was before the National Labour Commission. The National Labour Commission had indeed asked the government to do A, B, C, D, and not until those things had been done, we weren't going to budge. That was where the minister appealed to us, the National Labour Commission appealed to us, that on the strength of what they were doing, we had to, and we said that we needed to touch base with our people, which is natural with every union. Talk of NAT, NAGRAT, UTAC, TUTAC. We go for discussions, even directives, not appeals are given, orders are given. We are given time, space to be able to, as it were, consult with our people. We need to give the people on whose path we ride as leaders that respect by consulting with them and then taking their views. So at the end of the day, if we have to comply, collectively, we can all comply and then go ahead. And that was exactly what we had been doing, sir.
Stay with me. Let me bring in Bismarck Tay. He is Deputy Managing Editor for Teacher Educational Journal. Tay, I'm grateful that you could join us here. How do you respond to this now that government says, I won't pay the teachers for the month of August because they did not work? All right. This morning on the AM show, we're speaking to the PRO for the Education Ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, and we asked him, why this? Listen to him.
Talking about the same thing. What essentially means that is a way of boosting or increasing access. At the same time, ensuring that you are maintaining the quality component of education.
Okay.
So most of the practical lessons, in order to also augment the practical lessons, you also introduce a virtual one. I mean, all over the world, even in universities, we use simulations and other things. So it's just a way of augmenting it, not necessarily the lack of availability.
Thank
you are aware we've introduced it.
But before you go, there's a letter from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC. It says, we write at the instance of the Honorable Minister of Education, requesting you not to pay monthly salary and allowances.
Well, there is a history to that, very briefly. So, CTAC had their conditions of service expired. And so, I mean, the requirement was that they negotiate or engage their employers and agree on the new conditions of service. That was done and approved by even the Ministry of Finance for onward payment. But right after the approval, CTAC raised a concern. Let's look at it again and then prompt the Ministry of Finance for for them to take it into account. That was done. Approval was given for payment. But that was around 21st of July because we were just entering into August. And the Ministry of Education informed CITA that this is where we are. Everything has been approved. In any event, we are going to, even in terms of your payment, all outstanding arrears are going to be backdated. And so you can then go to work because all the concerns that you were looking for has finally been resolved. Because what controller told Ministry of Education is that if indeed they want to effect the payment as at just last July, it was not going to be possible. What essentially means is that they will have to sacrifice the entire payment structure for all civil servants in Ghana, maybe at the altar of the 2,000 CTAC student, CTAC employees that we may want to factor. So it was resolved that I guess they make the payment. And of course, the payment was going to take into account all outstanding arrears or our outstanding negotiations. CTAC said no. So what Ministry of Education is saying is that, well, in the month of August, you did not go to work. You did not work. Even against the National Labour Commission telling you that since all you are looking for has been agreed upon, and has actually been approved and payment is scheduled for next month, you have to go to work. CTAC said no. But I mean, you know that CTAC, just like most of these colleges of education, is just like an industrial hub. You work to produce output and then we use that money to pay you. If you do not go to work, the fundamental question that we have to ask ourselves is that where do we get money to pay you?
So that is Kwesi Kwarteng there. Now, Mr. Hima, you listened to him. He stated that, they agreed to your demand and said, go back to the classroom, but you did not go. Was he wrong or was he not factual there?
Inaccurate. Actually inaccurate.
Oh, it's factually inaccurate?
Sure.
Okay.
One, the fact that we are not paid at the end of the month by the students we turn out and the product we also bring out, as we thought to create that impression, We produce service and our teachers, long-term effects. For the students we are producing today, it will take them a number of years before they finish, go out there. But we are not even looking at that. And then to say that we have said we're not going to work since even though the Ministry of Finance had indicated the difficulty they had in paying us and that it was going to, through the entire pay what have you arrangement for the public sector overboard. I'm hearing this for the first time, and I should be glad if we can ask him to produce one single documentation to that effect. Certainly, if the ministry has communicated with us on that to that effect, there should be evidence. We communicate through letters. Let him show one letter to that effect. Mr. Kwarteng is my brother and friend. I know that there are issues, and I appreciate that it's working as PRO of the ministry. But let us, at this critical time, put things out there to reflect the reality of the ground. We are all not happy about where we are at the moment. But some of these things do not help. Some of these statements do not help matters.
All right, okay. Thank you. Stay with me. We've been joined on the line by Larry Agbado, Managing Editor, Teacher Education Journal. Larry, grateful for you to join us here. Is this a point where you were expecting that this matter will get to?
All right. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your good self and then your viewers across the world. It's quite unfortunate that this particular issue had to get to this level. Looking at the processes we had to go through. Before CTAC declared its strike on the 1st of August, weeks before that, they had given some kind of warning that they intended to go on strike by 1st August. So all their actions were made clear and known to everyone that this is what CTAC intends to do. The worry, however, is how the relevant stakeholders, especially governments, did not take these actions of CTAC or these warnings of CTAC serious to plan or work towards it. And to the level that we are in the 4th week of the strike. And if you know the colleges of education system, you know that every single week counts a lot in the colleges now, because government is feeding the students. So it means for the past 4 weeks, government has been feeding the students, but virtually nothing is taking place. So where do we go with this? Now, the critical thing that I feel we should also be looking at this point is that the steps government through the Ministry of Education is taking. Is that the case that there was no better way we could have resolved this issue? Because yesterday when I was speaking to some CTAC members, you could see that the actions by the ministry, it's something that is rather going to anger them. And most of them were even calling that if that's the case, they wanted to extend the strike beyond even the 4 weeks that we are in now. But I appreciate the fact that
they are willing to extend?
Yes, so if you interact with their members on the ground, and let's be guided by history. This is not the first time government has actually taken a step like this. somewhere in 2018, the then Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, also did a similar thing where even, I think it was November 2018, their salaries were not paid at all. But I think later, SITA took the matter up and they were paid later.
Okay.
So we've seen this before. But at this level, I think we should all get to the table and find the best solution that can help that our tutors can return back to the classrooms. For the trainee teachers who are on campus right now, we have just 2 levels on campus. See how best they can make use of the time. 4 weeks on campus doing nothing and government is feeding them is complete waste of time.
Okay. All right. So government says I won't pay you for the month of August. From your knowledge of the educational sector, how do you think both parties can resolve this matter amicably? What should happen now?
I think from my observation, government through the Ministry of Education, that is the Minister of Education, has in the past few weeks made attempts to meet the leadership of SITAC, I think on 2 different attempts or so. But on all these attempts, I think SITAC also had a case that the timings for the meetings were not favorable for them. I think this is the time the 2 parties actually have to put whatever differences that exist between them aside and then meet to see how best this situation can be resolved as soon as. The earlier we resolve this issue, the better for our colleges of education.
Well, government says I have already accepted your request and asked SITAC to go back to the classroom. They did not go. So, I mean, what else do you want government to do?
I think the necessary thing here for government to do is to also show some level of commitment that what we intend to do or what we promise to do for you relating to your conditions of service and the compensation for the all year round working. I think if you interact with most of the SITAC members, they just want to see some level of commitment that yes, government has put on paper that yes, by this time, we are going to receive this. Because they also feel that all these years it's just been lip service. So they really want to see actions. And I'm sure when they see any commitment, and that commitment can also happen when the 2 parties agree to meet on the same table.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's time they lose their entrenched position, then meet halfway to see how best they can resolve these issues.
Very interesting. Let me return to Prince Obinghema. Prince, so what is your next line of action? What do you intend to do?
Yeah, we will appear before the National Labour Commission, and the Commission has the right to make decisions. Remember, the last time we appeared before the Commission made a passionate appeal to us, to appeal to our members to call off the action because they had started a process of resolving the matters. And this is something we've been doing. Larry is just talking about, we've kept him informed of every step on the way where we have been doing the things. So the structures, local levels, the zonal levels, and what have you, we have almost gone through with the discussions and consultations. So let's think about it. But we are not perturbed. We'll continue to engage with our members. The directive notwithstanding them. If at the end of the day our people feel like we have to go back to work, if they decide that we have to go to work and the government say the way it is, why not? We'll go with the decision of the directive. Okay. And we're also looking forward to the National Labour Commission coming clear on this matter so that we'll know what the rule of law says. But as I said initially, we are using this opportunity to reach out to the Honourable Minister that we wouldn't in any way do anything to disrespect him or his office. We revere him as the direct rep of our employer and we'll give him the recognition that it is. What we have just said is that as for in-person meetings, just like all other stakeholders, they know the scattered nature of our situation. They give us prior notification, maybe 48 hours, 72 hours, so that our people can converge, we'll think through, and then we'll proceed to attend an Accra meeting. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
So is this something that you're expecting the government to withdraw the decision not to pay you for the month of August?
Like Larry Raleigh said, I believe that there is some kind of misinformation and some disconnect. So the minister isn't getting our intentions very clear. And naturally, if I were the minister and you were on strike and I invited you, somebody that I preside over, or your group that I preside over, and I get information that you said you won't come, certainly you will feel upset.
Okay.
And that would embolden you into taking such a decision. Yeah. That is why we reached out to him by writing to him to give him the background behind all of this. So I believe that there is a time for us to have an interface directly, not a showdown, so that we'll be able to, as it were, have a conversation around the table, understand one another. Remember, at the end of the day, whatever it is that happens, it's teacher education.
Withdrawn, and your salary is paid to you.
It can be withdrawn because we think that the National Labour Commission and all the other people that are refereeing the issue haven't declared our action illegal. We are not even looking at it from that legal perspective, but showing the goodwill that we are talking to our people. Mm-hmm. Our people are almost at a point where they will listen to the appeal. I believe this thing was needless, and the minister can take a second look at it.
Prince Obinghima, grateful to you for joining us. He is president of CTAC there. Now to other stories, and the paramount chief of Krachi in Chumuru traditional area, Nana Obrimpong, Kenya, the second says his traditional area has been left out in terms of roads and other developmental projects. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in 2021, during his appreciation visit to the region, promised to construct a bridge over the Oti River as his legacy for the region. This promise is, however, yet to be fulfilled 18 months to end his tenure as president. Peter Seno again has details.
The road network in Krachi-Nchumuru district is nothing to write home about. I have traversed the district for 3 days from Borai to Chinderi, Chinderi to Boafre, Boafre to Bejamsi, and the value is the same. Only Chinderi to Bejamsi has some grading and gravel works done recently. Residents say they feel isolated and neglected in their own country. They want the roads in the area fixed before the political season starts.
What we want to say to the government today, we want the government to mark our ways. This day, we, the people of Boafre, and then the adjoining communities are saying, no road, no voting. No street lights, no voting. And then whoever will come for campaigning, if he has not fixed such a thing, okay, he can come. We are ready. We are not prepared for war, but we will chase you out of our town.
And then we do be
if you have any food item to be sent to the market, except the tricycles, all we are telling government is that if they feel we are part of Ghana, they should come and fix the roads for us. We do not have problem with our MP. If he has the means, he would fix this road. This road has never seen any grading. Since the NDC time, now the MPP is almost living power. Wow. If ambulance is to transport any emergency case on this road, the person would die straight away. The paramount chief for Krachi-Nchumuru traditional area, Nana Obrimpong Kanya II, has added his voice to the calls by his people to get the roads in the area fixed.
Our roads are very terrible. The Nchumuru area is neglected. Why do you say so? Because nobody comes here to help us develop the area. We have our district council treasurer, we talk, our MPs are not helping us, the government is not helping us. And we're not known. The government's NDC, MPP from CPP time, after the fall of Kwame Nkrumah, the area had been neglected. The old roads constructed during Nkrumah's regime, they are the same roads we are using. NDC came and went away. MPP has come, the same thing. We produce a lot of yams, cassava to Accra. But they've neglected us. They've neglected us. We don't know. They are not cooperating with us at all. They only want our votes. But we want to tell them that next time we are very, very careful. If they don't help us, we will also know how to treat them. Both NDC and MPP. We haven't benefited from them at all. So the election is coming. The government in power, be careful.
He has asked political actors in the area to get up and work for the development of the area.
I'm telling all the politicians who apply in this area, they should be up and doing. Because they are not helping us at all. They come to deceive us. We make this thing for you, we vote for you, then you run away.
The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, in 2021 promised Nananom in the region that his legacy for the region would be a bridge over the Oti River.
But Oti Bridge to them, I am determined and I've made the promise and I am going to see to it that it is done. There are some here, legacy, it is going to be my legacy for this region, Oti Bridge. Yes, and only technical university about.
However, with 18 or so months to end his tenure as the President of the Republic, Nana Obrimpong dares the President to make good his promise to Nananom of the region.
So the Oti Bridge, I lay emphasis on this. Your promise, Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of Ghana, your promise, don't forget, we're asking you to have that bridge so that it will ease transportation problem in the area.
With the frequent breakdown of the ferry, a bridge on the lake would be an excellent alternative to ensure rapid economic activities and to save lives of residents at the overbank needing secondary health services. Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Now to other stories. The President, Akufo-Addo, says European countries involved in the transatlantic slave trade must offer a formal apology to the entire African continent for crimes and damages caused to the image, culture, character, and psychology of its people. The President, delivering the keynote address at the Global Convening for the Restitution of African Heritage organized by the Open Society Foundation in Accra, said calls must be intensified for the repatriation and restitution of cultural properties taken forcefully. Many of our audience, the slave trade era was very far away. Isaac Ofeje with our research desk joins me with some background information on that particular part of our history. But first, let's listen to the President.
I'm aware that countries such as Senegal, Nigeria, and Benin have managed successfully to regain possession of some of their cultural properties that were illegally moved out of their territories. Ghana has also successfully restituted some of its stolen cultural properties and relics. For example, in 2008, the government of Ghana collaborated with the elders of Ahanta to return the severed head of Nana Bedu II, who was executed in 1838. Other success stories include the return of some family collections of the Ashanti royal family and an Ashanti stool in 1985 by the British government. Before I conclude, let me state that the subject of restitutions must go along with the matter of reparations. No amount of money can restore the damage caused by the transatlantic slave trade and its consequences, which have spanned many centuries. But nevertheless, it is now time to revive and intensify the discussions about reparations for Africa. Indeed, the time is long overdue. If reparations can rightfully be paid to victims of the Holocaust, so reparations can be paid to the victims of the slave trade. And even before these discussions on reparations conclude, the entire continent of Africa deserves a formal apology from the European nations involved in the slave trade for the crimes and damage it has caused to the population, psyche, image, and character of Africans the world over. The Caribbean community, CARICOM, has unequivocally announced its demand for the payment of reparations. And I would urge us to engage with our kith and kin from the diaspora and form a united front to advance the cause of reparations.
So that's the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo there. Joining us in the studio for some discussion on this is Ibrahima Khan, who is the Special Advisor at Open Society Africa. Hi, good afternoon. Hope all is well.
Yes, so far so good.
All right. We also have Professor Toussaint Kafahire Muhula, who is President of African Studies Association of Africa. He is also the Director General of the Arope Center for Research and Training. Prof, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Why is this, reparation, repatriation, whatever, so important to the continent of Africa?
Well, it's really important for the continent because what was done to the continent was really, really terrible. First, you have the slavery. After the slavery, you have colonization. And during the colonization, they looted, all our communities. They have taken, what was really precious for our life and taken to European countries and now exposed in European museums. If you look at our economy, if you look at the way we live today, it's the consequences of all those criminal acts that was done in the last 5 centuries. So now there is in Africa, and elsewhere for example, in the Caribbean, in what we call the diaspora, there is, a development of kind of consciousness about
Africa.
We should not continue to accept what happened to us. We've seen in other situations, what happened to the Jews during the Holocaust. The situation was sorted out, and you have many, many other claims coming in a different part of the world. Why not Africans? And why not, for example, to start with the restitution of our heritage resources? No, I'm not saying artifacts only. It's the heritage resources. There are many, many other things that they have taken from us violently. Okay. And now we need those things to be back on our continent because we need them, for the development of our economy, for the studies in our universities, for many, many things. So the time has come for Africans to really start thinking about seriously, methodologically, about all those things. And it's about general reparation, which take different from restitution is one of them. Okay. Restitution of our artifact, restitution of our heritage resources. And if that is done, the new generation of Africans will have in their hands many, many tools that they can use to transform their society.
Okay. Prof, what must be the approach? Because from where I come from, and the President mentioned, in Ahanta, our chief was beheaded so many years ago, and he was taken to Netherlands for over 100 years. The head was kept in a jar. In 2008, when they were bringing it, it was only the head that was brought. That's why I'm asking for what should be the approach that the African continent would take in demanding these things.
Well, maybe I can build on what Ibrahim has just said and respond to that question by saying actually it takes what we're doing now. First of all, Africans across the continent are coming together, to begin to address these issues as from a Pan-African perspective. So it is creating a new awareness, as Ibrahima was saying. But also Africans are reappropriating themselves, I would say, the narratives, the discourse about this. And so what it will take is to say what is it that African really wants, and not what the West wants to make Africans believe they need, right? So that shift in narrative, in rhetoric, in discourse, making is already something that is galvanizing, strengthening, I would say, that Pan-African consciousness. A very pathetic, restitution of a tooth of Prime Minister Emery Patrice Lumumba, which represent nothing, even in terms of symbolism, because once you kill a leader of that stature, you are disrupting completely the history. Ibrahima was talking about development. So how do you begin to restore, to repair, to pay back, in fact, the history that you took off track and led it to the kind of underdevelopment that we know today. So all of these are the questions that Africans need to come together, sit around the table, and define the kind of perspectives that we want and the demands that we want to put on the table.
But now it looks like individual countries are asking of the European countries, do this, do that. From what you're saying, it means that we have to go in a unit. The continent has to do that. But how do we do it?
Well, we've started very well. The AU convened meetings for African experts on heritage resources, and they came up with a common African position, the restitution of heritage resources. One of the main difficulties for this restitution is the fact that when these objects were looted, they were looted when there was no Ghana, there was no Nigeria, there was no Senegal, there was no... so they were looted in the continent, in African continent. So these heritage resources belong to the continent, first. Two, they are now in museums. In Africa, these objects were not in a museum. It was in palaces, it was in places that for worshipping and all other stuff. So we need to take them back and to put them in those places. But it's for us to determine how this thing needs to be done. So we have to talk to the communities, we have to talk to NGOs, to even the traders, because if these artifacts come back, you won't believe it, but it will change many, many things. Our perception of ourselves, the way we deal with issues, the way we construct, the way we build houses, the way we do many, many things. So that only require a lot of thinking on our side on how to do it. That was particularly the purpose of the common African position on restitution. Two, you have to negotiate. 55 African countries needs to negotiate together with the European countries. Each country has its own approach of things. In Germany, it's not even the federal government that deal with the issues, the landers. In Belgium, in France, it's directly the state. In the UK, it's not even the state, it's a foundation that runs the British Library. So in all those different approaches, you need a common approach from African countries. And we have already that. Now, the next step is where are these artifacts? Because many of them are in museums, but some of them were also looted by individuals and militaries and others kept in their house. So we need to identify all of them. And there is a lot of work to be done by our academics, by many people going through those. And sometimes what is exposed in the museum is just less than what is underground in the basement and other stuff. All this needs to be done. So If we have all those information, now the conversation will start.
Can begin. I was asking that especially because, recently when the Asante was in Britain, he took advantage to meet with the Library Board of the UK to discuss how to repatriate the artifact of the Asante Kingdom back here. So now we're looking at not just the Asantes, not just Ahantes, not just the Fantes, or not just Ghana, but we're looking at the whole of the continent as a whole. So there's a lot of work to be done. But this conversation we're having, a lot of us young people didn't live in those periods. So let's try to get young people to appreciate what we're talking about. I've been joined on Zoom by research and data analyst Kofi Adjei to tell us more, to bring us background to this whole discussion. Kofi, what have we gathered on the background of all of this discussion on repatriation and reparation of African culture and artifacts?
Right, great. So if you can hear me, the transatlantic slave trade is one of the largest human force movements in history, for instance. It spanned between the 16th to 19th century, where close to 12 to 15 million Africans were actually enslaved, and primarily they're carried to either the European countries or in Africa. And then I actually have data, and I want to share with you. If you look at the 12 to 15 million people who were taken across, Europe and America as slaves, there's a data that shows that if you look at these people, about 24.3% of them were taken in war, 40.3% of them were kidnapped or seized, and we also have 19.4% of them were sold or triggered by a relative or friend. And if you look at 16% of them went through judicial process. And so even if you look at the slavery itself, those who were actually sold, about 19.5%, but those who were kidnapped or seized, that's a whopping 40.3%. And so that's the what the data actually tells us. The transatlantic slave trade is one of the largest human force movement that ever happened in history, where close to between 12 to 15 million people, some even estimated to be around 20 million, were taken from Africa. Not just human force, but just like you're saying in the studios, artifacts and all of those things. And people now have the argument that if we bring back this artifact to Africa, then we'll now have a positive effect on our economies. Because if you look at tourism, for instance, in Ghana, the inflows is estimated around $3.3 billion every year. And it contributes about 5% to GDP. And so if we have all of these things in our, our museums and all of those things, then it's going to help our economy, for instance. Just like when we just did, a renovation of the Nkrumah Memorial Park, you see the number of people that thronged the place to look at the place, and it's actually boosted tourism, where if you quantify the human resource that was taken out and then also the artifacts, it's huge and very significant, Grace.
Interesting. So it means that we're talking about a whole lot more than just artifact here. We're even looking at the people who were shipped. Can we even talk about that? Can it be part of the engagement that, look, you took away about 20 million of our people, and they helped to build your economies?
But what is interesting is not just what happened. At that time, I think it's more than 20 million. An academic from the University UCLA in California said it's about 78 million people who were transported over the 500 years. It's not just about that. It's also to make the parallel between what happened at that time and the problem we are having today with migration. What moral the Europeans have today to stop Africans going to Europe? Which moral?
And that's their country.
Did they ask us to go to the Caribbean or to America? Your colleague told us how they were taken to that place. This work give us more argument in everything that we are doing in Africa. Not only on economic aspect, but even political aspect. Because today, what is happening in migration is the European telling us who can move and who cannot move.
Okay.
In the past, they didn't ask the same question.
They came
took them, used them, the economy of many places. Recently, the Guardian, that newspaper in the UK, showed that cities like Manchester, cities like Bristol, even the royal family gained from the slave trade. So today, these people have to account. These cities have to account because their wealth is based on, the blood and tears of African.
Okay.
So when I say the homework needs to be done by African, it's that type of work.
Okay.
To be done in the way that politically, economically, socially, we are bold enough now to confront those who are trying to undermine us in different ways in international relations.
Prof, when Ibrahima was speaking, he made mention earlier, he spoke about the Jewish example and how they said because of their killings, they made certain demands. Can we then say, for example, the same issue about those long years ago, how my king's head was beheaded? It was the Dutch-Hunter War that resulted in the death of this man. It resulted in the death of a lot of people. Can the case be made that because of the several wars the Europeans, brought on the continent of Africa, these are the demands that we, the children of the continent, are making?
Well, my fear, honestly, is that we are thinking these important questions within a Western paradigm, which concerns mostly economics.
Okay.
So I think oftentimes we tend to reduce it to that market, type of thinking. I think when your colleague was talking, he said, just think about, the amount of money we can generate from museums, even if these artifacts had to come back to the continent, and this is the value added to the kind of conferences that we're having, this coming together, we're creating spaces where Africans from all walks of life, from different disciplines, from, we can come together and we begin to think and to shape the kind of policies that we would like to see, happen, and the kind of futures, actually, that we would like to imagine for Africa. And so I think it will be a trap that we need to be aware of to continue thinking within the very framework of economic, like the capitalism of the West, right? The question has ramifications that are deeply moral. I think Ibrahim had talked about it. That are deeply spiritual, right? Because a human being and the value that we add to this life transcend, I would say, the amount of money we can generate. It is how do I look at your face and I recognize that there is a huge moral responsibility that I have vis-a-vis of you, whether you are bringing money to the table or not. And so I'm just bringing this to the attention of the audience to say, yes, the question is much deeper and much more complex. And I think Ibrahima has tried to also, refer to that, complexity of the question.
So I think I've heard about research, that we need to do a research to understand what the real issues are. Is that where we begin from? If we get step by step, how do we do it?
Research is certainly part and parcel of what we're doing. And as I was talking before, I said everybody coming around the table has to bring what they have to bring. Scholars, academics, researchers have to do their homework and teach us what to do with all of these artifacts, for instance. Because what we are saying is that the artifacts in themselves have value that is way beyond, the capitalism of money. Why? Because they represent not only our libraries, that is where knowledge was stored, in our own, ancestral ways. They represent maybe our shrines, that is where maybe our ancestors, we used to worship. So it is all of these that we need to begin, researching and saying. And I think when Ibrahima talked before, earlier was saying, where do we bring them to, when we doing that physical movement of restitution. Do we take them back to the museum, or do we give them a new life where they can belong to the museum for a moment and belong to the community where they would be like subjects performing all these meaningful rites and rituals that really add, meaning and value to our lives. So all of this is part of that research that we are doing. So it is not research simply to say, oh, this is the provenance, these are the stages that the object, had to take before they could get there. These are how many are exposed in a museum and how many are left maybe in the basements or in private collections. That is part of the research, but it is not all the research that needs to be done.
Can I also add that education is also a very important aspect of it. It was looted 200 years ago, 100 years ago. The new generation need to know what are these objects. What was the significance of this object for the community, how the community was using this object, what importance this object are for the community. We need to educate our communities on the importance of that object. 3, there is an economic dimension of it because it needs to inspire, different economic actors, architects, those tailors, all of those people who really, when they watch these artifacts, they will learn a lot. They will use a lot from them. So that's the third one. But the fourth one for me, it is, which for me is the most important one. It's the significance for the continent. It's part of our identity, part of our heritage, and the usefulness of the heritage is to know what to do next. All
right then. It's a wonderful conversation that I'm sure we can finish today. We need to have it more often, so that a lot of us will learn, in this regard. I'm grateful to you for coming. For example, now you've told me that the head that was brought, we shouldn't bury it. We should put it in a museum that the young children will come and learn from it. So I'm grateful to you for coming through. Ibrahima Khan is with the Open Society Africa. He's a special advisor there. Professor Toussaint Kafahire Muhula. And are most often misunderstood. The Head of State Awards Scheme, an initiative which is changing the narrative and ensuring that children on the autism spectrum are not hidden but given a voice. There's more in the following report.
The Head of State Awards Scheme, an initiative instituted to equip, empower and transform the lives of young people as an extension of its mandate and program, set up the Life and Legacy program with the aim of offering and supporting individuals suffering with autism with the required skill sets to sustain themselves in the ever-changing world. Speaking at the awards ceremony, British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, highlighted the Commission's support in pivoting the improvement of autistic growth in the country.
I'm glad that the organisers of this award ceremony, HOSA, is leading the way in this with their programmes and initiatives which are centred around investing in people, building capacity, deepening expertise and rewarding and celebrating success, which is what we are here to do this evening. For an award on the legacy of the late Prince Philip, I thought it would be essential for me to highlight a few of the values that the late Prince Philip stood for that are reflected in his life and service. A strong work ethic, leadership, duty, sacrifice and loyalty. These values are pivotal to anybody's growth. And here at the High Commission, we aim every day to live out these values in our daily work, in the policies, in the projects that we partner with here in Ghana and around the world. The UK is focused in Ghana on supporting quality teaching. The child may be the future, but the teacher is the key to unlocking that future. So, for example, through our TTEL program, for instance, we've supported all public colleges of education in Ghana to improve how they train teachers. Over 15,000 new teachers a year ago are going into schools with more practice and better skills to teach inclusively at the right level and in the right subject. When you climb a good tree, it's when you climb a good tree that we push you. Please, someone connect my pronunciation later on. And for us here at the British High Commission, we're committed to continue to supporting you on this journey. I'd encourage all of you to pay it forward. Share what you've learned, share your experiences on the programme with the people around you, with the people that you get to interact with this evening. Encourage the next cohort of young leaders to take part in this programme in the years to come.
Mustafa Yusuf, Minister of Youth and Sports, commended the organisation for taking such an initiative to help children with autism. He assured of the government's continued support in aiding autistic children.
Differently able captures the essence of our collective journey. It reminds us that each individual, regardless of their circumstances, possesses unique abilities and potential awaiting to be unveiled. The resonance of this theme is not just a reminder, but a powerful declaration that champions the cause of inclusivity and recognizes the boundless reservoir of talents within every young one. As the Minister for Youth and Sports, I embrace the opportunity to stand alongside those who passionately champion youth development. It's a privilege to witness the transformative impact of initiatives that cultivate empowerment and equip our young generation with the tools that they need to flourish. Let us remember that our support, encouragement, and belief in the potential of our youth can ignite a mind of change that radiates far beyond these walls.
All right, now let's have a very beautiful conversation that borders on you and I. Now, have you or a friend, family or colleague at work experienced what depression is? Well, it is prevalent in Ghana. A report by the World Health Organization study on global aging and adult health data reported depression prevalence to be between 6.7 and 13.6% in Ghana's population. The situation could be worse, and depression and anxiety affect us in many ways. We have someone with expertise in this area and seeking to help address the problem in her own little way. Joining us now is Raven Cross, a psychiatric nurse. She's also the founder of the non-profit organization Ubuntu Mind. Raven, great to have you here.
Yes,
and I love the name Ubuntu. Because you are, because I am, yeah?
Exactly.
And I am because you are.
Exactly.
That's the mindset Ubuntu.
Yes, okay. It is.
So, walk us through this whole depression, because a lot of us don't even if I have it, I don't even know.
Right.
So let's understand, what are these, what would I see for me to say, this is depression?
I can't sum it up in this little bit of time, but I can tell you this. Okay. It's more than a seeing, it's more of a feeling of embodiment. So depression comes in different ways, different forms. I'm eating too much, I'm eating too little. I'm sleeping too much, I'm not sleeping enough. I can't connect to my family, I'm connecting too much with my friends, or vice versa, right? There's a huge spectrum. And so with that being said, we want to destigmatize what it looks like and focus on what it feels like.
So if I'm doing something more than my usual,
yes.
If I'm doing something less than my usual,
yes.
That's depression?
Not so quite clean cut, right?
Okay.
Again, let's use the word spectrum. If you, let's say, you are noticing that you are going days and days without sleeping, right? And you are going days and days without connecting to your family. And these days have turned into weeks. And these weeks have turned to you feeling down and you can't even concentrate on your way to work, right? It's impacting the way you even function. Then yes, you may have depression.
Okay.
Or you may have anxiety. It's a tricky scale.
How do we get there?
How do we get there? Again, these answers are so spectrum-wide because we are multidimensional beings. And so just how you could not sum up who you are in one sentence, I cannot do the same in this diagnosis.
Okay.
So how do you get there is It's anything. A lot of us are carrying trauma that have been passed down from our mothers, from our parents. A lot of us have trauma that has been given to us through the forms of our history. So we have got there through a place of lacking maybe understanding of how to take care of ourselves, how to read your body, understand I'm not right. We've been taught to be silent about things that we should be loud about.
Okay.
Exactly. I better ask you right now, how are you? You're going to say, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Maybe I'm not fine.
No.
Money matter is the one I cannot tell you.
Exactly.
And I say, oh, I'm fine.
Exactly. So
are these part of the reasons? Not being open about the issues.
Exactly. That's where Ubuntu minds come in.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the impacts then? I mean, once I'm not able to come out, I'm depressed, but I'm not able to come out. How does it impact society, for example?
It impacts society in a great way because now you have a culture and a community of people who are shut down. They're not present. I don't know how to show up for you so you can show up for your family because you have not communicated with me. And so now we have created this whole existence of just existing instead of living. So I hope that makes sense.
Is it not because we say, well, I don't have to poke my nose into your issues that much, and that's why everybody is reserved in a way?
I think, again, about taking away the stigma, right? And not so much you're poking your nose into my business, but you genuinely care for me. If I had a cold and a cough right now, would you say, how's that cold? How's that cough? Let me take you to the doctor. It's the same thing.
So what is Ubuntu Minds doing to deal with the issue?
I'm glad you asked. So Ubuntu Minds is dealing with the situation by partnering with Nisa Place organization here in Ghana, specifically Accra, and that is an organization that helps to bring unity to the community, to allow resources that we can have counselors, coaches, people who are well-versed in how to approach and heal anxiety, depression, and post-trauma.
So I mean, in Ghana, what is it that you're doing?
In Ghana right now, I'm feet on the ground because this is actually Ubuntu's third visit to Ghana. Yes,
okay.
Because we do not want to come into a space and tell you how to heal.
Okay.
That's none of my business. I want you to tell me how it can help you heal.
Okay.
Right? So this is why we are here. We are here getting feedback from different organizations saying, what are you seeing in the community? We've seen and heard a lot of anxiety. We've seen and heard a lot of depression. But this is what it takes, feet on the ground, not sitting behind a computer and saying, this is what you should do for Ghana. So this is why we're here.
So it's more of trying to understand the issues to determine what sort of solution needs to be applied.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so far, what have you found?
We have found that when you break it down and take away the my nose is in your business and genuinely ask the question, how are you today? How can I help you today? What has been plaguing you for some time? We are finding that people are really, really wrestling with a decreased sleep because they are trying to worry about how their children are going to eat. They don't have time to sleep. Their minds are constantly going. We're finding out that there's an underlying anxiety because guess what? Prices of things are increasing, and I have to keep it moving. Right? I have no time to take care of myself and sit with my feelings and go and be quiet. And so this is what we're learning, that anxiety and depression are rearing its head just from life stressors.
Money matters.
And only not even just money. I will say this. This is also, a lot of us haven't been taught to take care of ourselves. We don't know how to soothe and how to decompress and how to say, yes, I am depressed, and this is how I want to deal with it.
So it's a problem of how the society has been designed.
Yes.
Because we're not trained in way to come out.
Yes.
How do we break that then?
You break that down with resources. I want to break out some numbers real quick. So currently, I was looking up in the World Health Organization states that there are about 2.3 million people in Ghana who may be suffering from anxiety, depression, or PTSD, which is post-stress traumatic syndrome. Anyway, so with that being said, to that 2.3 million, there are only 2% who have help, who get resources. There are approximately 39 psychiatric professionals in the country of Ghana. So
to deal with the over 2 million people.
Yes.
Did it tell you why it is so? I mean, why we have only 39?
Lacking resources. Mental health is very new kind of a thing, right? Back in the day, you probably were gone mad, and people are like, oh, don't worry about that person. They're just mad. But now people are being honest, and they're being open. And now there is a need for help. There's a need for ushering in assistance. There's a need for unity. Okay. And this is why I am because you are. You can't do anything alone.
You can do it.
Exactly.
So I guess one of the solutions then is to look at how we can increase the number of psychiatric specialists in the country.
Yes.
Is that something you're considering?
Yes, very much so. This is one of the major goals of Ubuntu Minds, is to bring more and more resources. And in the very near future, we would like to even teach people how to counsel and how to show up for family members who may be suffering from anxiety or depression.
Yeah, I'd love to stay with you here and have a lot of chat on this, because this is quite, I mean, this is relatable.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of people going through it.
Yes.
And especially the take on the fact that society is built in a way that children cannot open. It is not even children.
Right.
Adults cannot open up on our issues.
Right.
Because they feel that when they open up to you, you go and tell another person that you see this guy is going through this issue.
Exactly.
And that's why they're not able to, open up.
Exactly.
So how do we even cure that? That when I tell you my issue, you're going to tell another person, probably I don't want the person to hear, but you will. So how do we cure that? How do we get to change society in such a way that I can trust that when I tell you that this is my issue, I believe that it will stay within us.
Right. We have to give ourselves grace. And what that looks like, even if you know my business, do I care? Because I have much grace for myself, and I have much grace for you as someone who probably needed to say whatever you need to say. Also, we need to allow safe spaces for people to just be. And I think that's important. We need to allow more and more spaces for people to just be. And you would be surprised. A lot of people will actually just be. They'll be so consumed with healing themselves that they will probably forget what you have told them. So.
All right, then. Great to have had you here.
Nice.
I hope that anytime you come to Ghana, pass by and let's have this conversation.
I will. Thank you.
Right. Okay, grateful. Thanks for coming through. So this is, the conversation we've had about depression and what it means to all of us in Ghana. Thanks to you, Raven Cross. She is a psychiatric nurse and the founder of Ubuntu Minds. Well, the whole of next month has been dedicated to literacy under the code name. We have a code name for that, and it's Carnival Literacy Month. It starts from the 1st to the 29th of September 2023. And in Ghana, Public Corps is leading activities for the celebration. They are here to share with us what that means and what you can do to expect or to benefit from the launch, which is on September 1. More of that coming up next after the break.
When everybody came out, everybody's looking good, displaying their art, beautiful art everywhere. This is my 5th year coming in a row. So I'm here every August for the festival. It's been amazing being with my black people all day, every day. It's been great.
It's not fun here. There are a lot of art things to do. So I personally love it. And I love the artworks. I love Charlotte 2022.
It's fantastic. This year's experience is marvelous.
It's amazing. It's Charlotte Festival, y'all. You ought to be here.
The paintings, the people, the Ghanaians were awesome.
Everyone, when you're in Ghana around the same time, make sure you check it out. It's really happening.
And welcome back from the break. The whole of next month has been dedicated to literacy under the code name Carnival Literacy Month. It starts from the 1st of September to the 29th of same month. And in Ghana, PERBICAPS is leading activities for the celebration. They are here to share with us what to expect ahead of the launch on September 1. I have with me Adjoa Mirekua, who is Mirekua Mpoma. She's Brands and Comms Senior Associate at PERBICAPS, and Anyele Perby, founder of PERBICAPS. Hi. Good afternoon to you, ladies.
Good afternoon.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about literacy. Why is it so important that we should even focus on having a month dedicated to it?
A very good question, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. So literacy, the ability to read and write, understand what is being read, is a very important skill. In fact, it's a foundation to all other kinds of learning in school. By the age of 10, most children have learned how to read, so that from that age, they can read to learn. If you are not able to read very well and understand what you read by age 10, it's very likely that school will be a struggle, to be a chore, it will be very difficult. And so a whole month dedicated to literacy is important to bring awareness of the importance of literacy in children growing up and how it will help them succeed. Unfortunately, there's a very high level of illiteracy in our public basic school system. But also illiteracy, the inability of children to read and understand what they read. And so Literacy Month, the goal is to actually encourage society, to encourage children, but also everyone to read and enjoy reading so that we can succeed in the future.
So who is PERBICAPS, or what is PERBICAPS, and what do you do?
Okay. So PERBICAPS, we offer a fun, evidence-based, cost-effective literacy program that empowers children to succeed through becoming very good readers. And so we typically partner private schools to get this done. But this year, since Accra has been chosen as UNESCO's World Book Capital, we have branched out to engage not just private schools, but public schools and the whole of society to bring the fun to reading. Because if we are able to change society's mindset when it comes to reading, where reading is no longer a chore or a bore or a punishment, but actually is something that is fun and leads to success, we will definitely have a better society.
Okay, Adjoa.
Yeah, could you?
What is this carnival about? I mean, when you say carnival,
Yeah.
we're talking about reading or literacy, and then we bring in carnival. Carnival is to chill.
Oh, okay, so it's the chilling aspect of reading. Actually, carnival is a coined word from the English word carnival.
Okay.
So the carne in Ga means to read. So when it comes to carnival, it means reading fanfare. So it's a 1-year fun social campaign. Actually, PERBICAPS is an official partner of the UNESCO Accra World Book Capital 2023. So that is our 1-year the reading campaign, our 1-year project that we are also having full of activities. We go to public schools, private schools to promote literacy, to inculcate the habits of reading in peoples in the schools, society at large, because reading is not just for school-going kids. It's for everybody, it's for society. To be successful in life and to be able to achieve something better for yourself, you should be able to read, write, and understand even what you read. So we are starting from our babies in the school, that's the children in the school. When you inculcate it in them, that is when they grow with it. And then the fun aspect also makes it more lively, because we don't want them to see it as a chore anymore. We don't want them to see it as a punishment anymore. But then they should enjoy. It should come naturally from them. So at the end of the 1-year campaign, the message we want to put across society is that reading is fun. Reading leads to success, so everyone should read. So we had the launch on May 11th at Alpha Beta School, and from there we've moved to different schools, both private and public schools. Our last and our first public school currently at the moment was the Dansman B cluster of schools. So we've had experience at the CAPS, or the children, in public schools, and then both in private schools as well.
So Anyele, I mean, you guys are mesmerizing me. If say I'm a parent and I want my kids to come, how do I take advantage?
Very good question. So there are many ways to connect with PERBICAPS on our social media handles, PERBICAPS on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. And when you connect with us, we can therefore, bring you to the part of the carnival. Private schools and public schools are also connecting with us because we are taking the carnival bus from school to school, from region to region. But
region to region.
Yes, we will definitely get from region to region.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But the next month will be particularly interesting because right in Accra Central, we are going to have a very wonderful activity at Tema Station. We are going to engage the whole of society there. So that will be one way in which a parent can connect with us. We'll be setting up a digital library station right in the middle of downtown Accra, or Accra Central, so to speak, at Tema Station, where we can engage people from all walks of life, not just children, but the kayaye, the market women, the taxi drivers, trotro drivers, the bankers, and so on and so forth. And so it's something which any school that wants to be part of this, we are inviting schools to come over as well to engage in the fun fair of reading. Reach out to us, and we'll be happy to connect with them over this.
Very interesting. Can I even come there to read a book?
Yes, we'll be looking forward to seeing you there. Yes.
I want to read a book.
Yes.
It's something like a readathon.
Yeah. Exactly. You can read a book and come and do perhaps a competition between some media stations would be nice.
Yeah, it won't be bad. It won't be bad, yes. Yeah. All right, interesting. So the goal of, the next month is to get more people to read.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. It's to get more people to also appreciate that reading doesn't have to be boring. And reading doesn't have to be the thing you only do to pass exams, but you can actually read and have fun while reading, and reading leads to success.
Oh, reading leads to success.
Yes.
How does that happen?
Oh, reading leads to success because for you to become a lawyer, for you to become an accountant, whatever professional, whatever you want to be, if you don't learn, if you don't read, even if it's mathematics that you are studying in school, it's about reading. You should understand. So if you're able to read, you're able to understand, definitely you'll be successful because that's the basis of everything.
So when I'm coming to an event, would I have to plan to pay something?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
So these are free events?
These are free events. The carnivals at Tema Station from the 1st to the 29th, you just walk in and you can come read. We are partnering with corporate institutions to have some prizes and giveaways. And so once you come there, you enjoy your reading session, and if you read well and you get some points because you pass some quizzes, you may win some giveaways. So that is free. But at the end of the month, we are having a grand celebration called the Celebration of Champions, big fun fair at Ifasaradan Park. And that is to celebrate our topmost readers for the month. So to do that's one, there's a small entry fee, to cover the costs. But apart from that, it's going to be fun. And those who read the most will be those who enjoy the most at that fun fair.
Is it open to all of us?
All of us.
Oh.
Yes. So once more, we'll be seeing you there.
I want to be in competition with someone in here.
Yes.
I'll bring the person and me and him. We'll
be looking forward to that.
All right. Your final words before we wrap up this conversation. Let me start with you, Adjoa.
Okay, so with the Literacy Month actually that we are going to have, it's going to be stationed actually at the forecourts of the AMA. So from the launch, which is on the 1st of September, it's open to all and sundry, not just those in and around Accra Central. It's open for everybody to come and experience the fun that comes with reading, come and read, come and learn, come and meet celebrities that you've been longing to meet and all that. It's going to be fun. It's a 1-month program or campaign. So we will be there from the 1st to the 29th. So we are entreating everybody to come there and join us.
Okay, interesting. Hi, Anyele.
I want to say a big thank you to Multimedia for being such a strong and strategic media partner and always promoting reading and supporting us to do so. I'm grateful that Multimedia will be covering us in the month of September as we bring the joy and fun to reading. And we also are grateful to corporate entities who want to come alongside us. As we want to do this for free to encourage people to read, it definitely is not going to be at no cost to us. So we need to partner with other institutions as well. So any institution that has got literacy or, SDG 4 or education as one of their CSRs, we are looking forward to partner with them to make this a reality for society.
Then you need to partner me to take this to Hunter West, where I'm from, to get a lot of the people there to read.
They are taking notes. We have 3 things that we're coming to ask you for now.
No problem at all. Let's go. So the young people that will learn they love to read.
That is the vision.
All right. So that's Anyele Perby. She is founder of Perby Caps. and Adjoa Mirekua Ampuma, Brand and Communications Senior Associate with Pebi Caps there. Thank you.
Thank you
ladies,
so
for
much.
coming. And on that note, we wrap up this edition of The Pulse on the Joy News channel. Sorry that we couldn't bring you the conversation on with the Ghana Gas senior staff members chairman, but we'll promise to bring you that tomorrow on the edition of The Pulse. But we'll leave in the hands of the LTS team. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Thanks so much for being a part of it. On behalf of the team, do enjoy the rest of the show.